I don't believe there's one single moment where you simply awaken and realize your wife is no longer truly by your side. It unfolds gradually, like water slowly seeping through a crack in a wall. Silent, persistent, until you finally see that everything around you is utterly drenched. I remember the very first time she said those words. "I have a bit of a headache, babe. Can we skip tonight?" It seemed completely normal. I didn't give it a second thought. Everyone gets tired, right? Work stress, hormones, life happens. We had been married for 6 years. I understood that life sometimes gets in the way. But then it happened the next night. I'm just so exhausted. And the night after that, her head was hurting again. It became a pattern. Always something. At first, I dismissed it. I told myself not to be selfish, that maybe she was going through a difficult period. So instead of pressuring her, I tried to be more helpful. I took on extra chores around the house, cooked dinner when I got home, took out the trash before she could ask. I did the grocery shopping, even started doing the laundry just to give her more time to rest. And guess what? Nothing changed. In fact, it only got worse. She would go out with her friends on weekends and come home laughing, full of energy, smelling like perfume and wine. But with us, there was this invisible wall. Cold, distant. She was physically present, but her spirit was miles away. And it wasn't just physical, it was deeply emotional. I could feel it. You know that gut-wrenching feeling when something is just off? Yeah, that feeling. I kept trying. I bought her flowers, left her little love notes. I'd give her shoulder rubs after dinner, plant a soft kiss on her cheek, try to initiate some closeness. But the moment I reached out to touch her, her entire energy would shift. She'd either flinch ever so slightly or immediately say, "Not tonight, please." Always tired, always drained, yet somehow never too tired for Instagram, TikTok, reality TV, or drinks with her coworkers. After a few weeks of this, I started to wonder if I had done something wrong. I replayed our conversations in my head, searching for something I might have said. I even asked her directly, gently, "Is everything okay between us, honey?" She gave me this strained, awkward smile and said, "Of course. Why wouldn't it be?" Then she gave me a quick, empty peck on the cheek and immediately changed the subject. But the genuine warmth and affection were gone. I won't lie, it messed with my head. As a man, you try to be strong, to not take it personally. But when the person who vowed to love you doesn't want to touch you anymore, not even to hold your hand or lie next to you on the couch, you start to feel invisible. I'd be getting ready for bed, and she'd already be there, turned toward the wall, endlessly scrolling on her phone. Some nights, she'd even get up and sleep on the couch, claiming she was too hot or couldn't breathe properly. I stopped believing those excuses very quickly. The weirdest part? It wasn't even about the sex. It was the profound rejection. The constant avoidance. The way her face would light up for everyone else, coworkers, friends, even the random delivery guy. But for me, she was as cold as ice. I wasn't asking for anything crazy, just a connection. A spark. A smile that felt real and was meant for me. But it was like she had shut that door and thrown away the key. Eventually, I realized I was the only one trying. I was pouring all my effort into holding us together, and she was just there. And it wasn't just in the bedroom. She stopped asking about my day, stopped caring about anything I was doing. I'd come home from work to a dry "hey," uttered without even a glance from the couch. She'd be texting nonstop, laughing at her screen, while I sat alone in the kitchen eating the dinner I had made for both of us. I wanted to believe it was just a phase. Maybe she was dealing with something and didn't know how to talk about it. But months went by and nothing changed. Then came one specific moment that shattered something inside me. It was a Saturday. I had the day off and had planned to spend it with her. I made us breakfast, cleaned up, and even suggested a walk in the park like we used to. She barely looked up from her phone. "I already made plans with the girls," she said. No smile. No apology. Nothing. She left that afternoon all dressed up, hair done, makeup perfect. When she came home late that night, smelling of wine and laughter, I calmly asked if she wanted to sit on the porch with me. Just the two of us. You know what she said? "Ugh, babe. I'm really not in the mood for talking." My head's pounding. That was the fourth time that week she'd used the headache excuse. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I just nodded, stood up, walked past her, and closed the bedroom door behind me. I lay there wide awake, staring at the ceiling, and told myself, this isn't love anymore. This isn't partnership. This isn't even respect. That night was the last time I ever believed her. Something in me switched off. I didn't know what I was going to do yet, but I knew I was done begging for affection from someone who clearly didn't value mine. And let me tell you, when a man checks out emotionally, that's far more dangerous than any yelling or arguing. I wasn't angry. I was just done. After that night, something shifted inside me. The anger never came. I didn't want revenge. I wasn't planning anything dramatic. I just felt finished. Done pouring energy into a void that gave nothing back. It felt like I'd spent months, maybe years, trying to hold together something that only I cared about. So I stopped, not in a loud, confrontational way. I didn't yell or slam doors. I didn't make speeches. I simply stepped back, quietly, intentionally, and that silence was louder than anything I could have screamed. First, I stopped with the unreciprocated favors. No more cooking for both of us after work. If I was hungry, I made a plate for one. If there was no food for her, well, I figured she was a grown woman who could handle it. She never thanked me before anyway. Then came the money. I knew that would get her attention. I had always been the one funding our life, paying the bills, groceries, her random online shopping sprees. I used to transfer money straight to her account weekly. That stopped immediately. I didn't make a scene. I just canceled the automatic transfers. A few days later, she asked, "Hey babe, did you forget to send me money this week?" I looked her in the eyes and said, "Yeah. I figured you didn't really need anything from me these days." She blinked like she didn't understand, but I saw it. That flicker in her expression. It wasn't confusion. It was awareness. She knew something had changed. After that, I stopped all the little things too. Filling up her car with gas, grabbing her snacks, checking if she needed anything. I stopped being her personal assistant. She didn't react at first. She probably thought it was a temporary mood. But a week passed, then two, and I kept my distance. Still civil, still polite, just completely detached. No more morning coffee waiting for her. No more, "How was your day?" No more shoulder rubs. I started sleeping on my edge of the bed. No arguments, no shouting, just quiet, cold disconnection. And man, let me tell you, that's when the magic happened. Suddenly, her headaches vanished. I kid you not, it was like someone flipped a switch. Out of nowhere, she started acting differently. One night, I came home from work and found her in the kitchen cooking dinner. For the first time in months. She had even set the table. Candles, plates, the whole thing. She looked up and smiled like we were on our honeymoon. "Hey babe, how was work?" she asked in a sweet tone I hadn't heard in forever. I didn't play along. I just said, "Busy," and walked past her. She followed me to the bedroom, sat on the bed, and started saying she missed talking to me, that things felt weird lately. I didn't bite. I didn't give her the reaction she wanted. That night, she tried to initiate intimacy for the first time in months. She reached for my hand, rubbed my arm, started kissing my neck. I froze. Not because I didn't want it, but because I knew what it was. It wasn't love. It wasn't passion. It was a strategy. She had figured out her comfort was at risk and was switching tactics. I looked her in the eyes and asked, "Your head's not hurting tonight?" She hesitated for a second, then gave a nervous laugh. "No, not at all." I nodded. "That's good. Just making sure." I rolled over and pretended to sleep. She was quiet the rest of the night. Over the next few days, the performance continued. She dressed nicer, smiled more, started using pet names again. She even bought new lingerie and left it on the bed. But I saw right through it. She wasn't doing this because she missed me. She missed what I gave her. My time, my effort, my help, my money, my support. When all that disappeared, she didn't miss me. She missed the benefits. And that realization hurt more than all the rejection, because it meant I was just a safety net to her. Not a partner. Not a man she admired. Just a convenience. The damage was done. Whatever spark I had felt was gone. I wasn't bitter. I wasn't angry. I was just numb. She kept trying though. She'd hug me out of nowhere, laugh at unfunny jokes, offer to help around the house. Suddenly, she was folding laundry, scrubbing the bathroom. It was almost funny, watching her scramble to fix what she broke, not realizing the real damage wasn't in the chores, it was in the trust. Eventually, she sat me down. She said she felt us drifting and asked what was going on. I told her the truth, plainly. I was giving 100% to someone who treated me like a backup plan. So I stopped. That's it. She didn't say anything for a while. Then she mumbled something about not meaning to make me feel that way, about stress, hormones. I nodded. I understand. That's why I never argued. I just needed to protect myself. She tried to apologize, to say things would be different, that she loved me. I believe she loved the life I gave her, the comfort, the security. But me, the actual man? I wasn't sure anymore. You know what's strange? Even when things on the surface get better, the affection returns, the conversations come back, you can still feel that something real is missing underneath. Something that was quietly destroyed when the other person thought you'd just stick around no matter what. That was us. On paper, we were fine. She was more affectionate, cooked dinner, sat with me. To outsiders, we looked like a couple healing. But me? I was already gone. Not physically, but emotionally, spiritually, mentally. I had moved on. I didn't want revenge. I didn't want to punish her. I just saw her clearly. No illusions. And what I saw was someone who only gave love when it was transactional, when she had something to lose. Her hands on my chest didn't feel tender anymore. They felt calculated. Her I love you-s sounded like rehearsed scripts. Her smiles didn't warm me. They made me uncomfortable because I knew they were driven by fear. Fear of losing the man who kept her world stable while she neglected his heart. I remember one night in particular. She made my favorite lasagna, like she used to. She cleaned up, put on music, lit a candle. The whole mood was crafted. She sat beside me, rested her head on my shoulder, and whispered, I missed this. I missed us. I didn't say anything. She said, I realize I was pushing you away for no reason. You didn't deserve that. I nodded, but inside, it was too late. She only realized it after she felt the loss. After the man she took for granted stopped carrying her weight. It took my emotional absence for her to see my worth. It wasn't love that brought her back, it was the silence. The cutoff. The fact that her easy life wasn't so easy anymore. A love like that isn't love at all. It's dependence, selfishness, convenience wearing a mask of affection. I stayed a while longer, not to rebuild, I knew it was irreversible, but to be sure I wasn't reacting from pain or ego. I wanted clarity, not bitterness. And with each day, I became more certain. I'd lie awake, remembering all the nights of rejection. The times I felt like a ghost in my own home. The way she'd roll her eyes when I tried to connect. Now that she wanted me, I couldn't unsee it. Her past choices had created a distance I couldn't cross. It wasn't just the lack of intimacy. It was the coldness, the dismissiveness, the emotional starvation while she thrived. No amount of dinners or cuddles could erase that neglect. Something in me had changed forever. One morning, I looked in the mirror and saw a man I hadn't seen in years. Clear eyes, calm face. I wasn't sad anymore. I wasn't waiting. I took all that love I poured into her and turned it inward. I started going to the gym, changed my diet, picked up old hobbies, reconnected with friends. I got sharper at work, more confident. I was rebuilding myself. And she noticed. She asked, "Are you okay? You seem different lately." I smiled and said, "Yeah, I feel like myself again." She smiled back, but I saw the fear in her eyes. She knew that myself again didn't include the man who lived for her comfort. That man was gone. Eventually, I sat her down. No anger, no blame. I said, "I don't hate you. I'm not angry. But I don't trust this version of you, because it only showed up when you started losing me." She was silent, eyes watery. I continued, "I needed your love when it wasn't easy. When I was tired. When I reached for you and you rolled away. That's when I needed your heart. Not now. Not when you're just realizing what my absence feels like. She tried to speak, to talk about fixing things, but I gently shook my head. I don't need proof anymore. I just need peace. Not to hurt her, but because I finally understood self-respect. I didn't need revenge or drama. I just needed to choose myself. She texts me now, calls, says she misses me, sends old photos and songs. I read them, maybe smile a little and put the phone down. No hate, no grudge, just indifference. Because once a man finds his peace, he never goes back to the chaos that cost him his soul.